the future of the Black community is at self-built-legacy-foundations.com. Our mission begins with the unshakable bedrock of our name, self-built. This isn't just a phrase, it's the truth of our ancestors' genius and resilience. Through their immense contributions and forced labor, they built far more than just physical structures for this country. Their agency, ingenuity, and sheer will to create something from nothing, often in the face of brutal oppression, laid foundational elements that continue to shape the nation and specifically the Black community's path forward. This is our inheritance. And we must never forget that it all began in August 1619. On that day, the seeds of our self-built legacy were planted in the most brutal of soils, and from there, an unshakable will to be free was born. And this is the existing strength we ground our mission in today. We are not starting from scratch. We are building from an already powerful foundation. Welcome to the power of self-built. When I ask myself, why are we building self-built legacy foundations? My answer begins in my birthplace, Mound, Bayou, Mississippi, one of the oldest historically all-Black towns in the United States. Founded in 1887 by pioneers like Isaiah T. Montgomery and Benjamin T. Green, formerly enslaved men, they purchased undeveloped land and cleared the wilderness to establish a thriving community from nothing. Mound Bayou was more than a town. It was an oasis of freedom. It was a self-governing community where all elected officials were African American, a remarkable achievement. It was a place of economic success where residents owned their own land and businesses, standing in stark contrast to the sharecropping system. Booker T. Washington called it a school in self-government, living proof of what's possible when a community builds for itself. But here's the painful truth. Mound Bayou was a precious anomaly. The systemic injustices that made it necessary are the very why nots that still limit resources, opportunity, and power for the Black communities today. Its story highlights the immense fragility of progress not protected by a fortified, self-sustaining system. This is the why that drives us. We are taking the lessons from Mound Bayou, the power of self-government, economic success, and resilience, and we are building a new, unbreakable foundation for the Black community across the nation. Our mission is to ensure the spirit of Mound Bayou is no longer an anomaly, but the reality everywhere. The story of Mound Bayou is powerful. It's living proof of our capacity to build, to govern, and to prosper. But it also raises a critical and often painful question. Why, over 100 years later, is the spirit of a self-sustaining community still a dream for so many of us? The answer lies in the why nots. The systemic barriers that were not dismantled after Mound Bayou was built, but were simply adapted and reinforced. Why not financial freedom? Why not easy access to capital for our entrepreneurs? Why not generational wealth for our families? Why not equitable home ownership that builds lasting equity? Why not a healthy community? Why not fair access to quality healthcare? Why not nutritious foods for our neighborhoods? Why not access to educational resources that unlock our children's full potential? Why not true power? Why not collective ownership of the businesses and institutions that serve our communities? Why not a voice that truly shapes our destiny? Why not a narrative that is ours, unburdened by stereotypes? These are the why nots that limit our resources, opportunities, and collective power to thrive. They are the systemic barriers that turn a dream of prosperity into a daily struggle for survival. They are the problems Self-Built Legacy Foundations was built to solve. We are here to dismantle those barriers one by one. Our mission is to take the lessons of Mound Bayou and use them as a blueprint for a future where a self-built foundation is not an anomaly, but an absolute, undeniable reality. We've reflected on our beginnings and we've confronted the truth of the why nots. Now, let's talk about our inheritance. Let's talk about legacy. A legacy is more than just what you leave behind. It is the profound inheritance that you are. It is the intangible wealth that fuels the present, passed down from our ancestors who built a foundation for us against all odds. Their legacy is not merely one of survival, it is a rich, creative, and powerful one. They left us a rich and adaptive culture, from the undeniable global influence of our music, to the ingenuity of our cuisine, to the beauty of our art and our oral traditions. They left us an unyielding spirit of resilience and resistance, forged in the fiery crucible of injustice. They left us a deep and abiding faith, a spiritual fortitude that served as the very core of our communities and our movement. They left us a meticulous blueprint for collective action, the strategies of mutual aid, civil disobedience, and organizing that became the playbook for social change worldwide. This is our inheritance. This is the intangible wealth that no system, no law, no form of oppression could ever take. It is the unshakable bedrock upon which self-built legacy foundations is built. Our mission today is to recognize the full value of this inheritance and, fueled by our collective spirit, use it to build the tangible wealth, the physical structures, and the independent power that our ancestors dreamed of. It is our responsibility and our honor to build a future worthy of this profound legacy. You know our why. You know the immense legacy of resilience we inherit. Today, we present our mission, our blueprint for how we build on that foundation. Our mission is to eliminate poverty and foster holistic well-being in the Black community by building a robust economic foundation from the ground up, while simultaneously ensuring access to essential resources and building power for systemic change. Once more, our mission is to eliminate poverty and foster holistic well-being in the Black community by building a robust economic foundation from the ground up, while simultaneously ensuring access to essential resources and building power for systemic change. We understand that true change isn't overnight. It requires a sustained, relentless effort. That is why our mission is a 30-year journey, a generation-spanning endeavor to create fundamental and enduring change. To guide this journey, we have a clear roadmap, the financial framework. We are committed to moving individuals and communities from survival to stability, then achieving success, and ultimately creating a legacy of profound significance. This is our path forward. This is our unshakable commitment, and we achieve it through strategic work of our 4 pillars: economic foundation, essential resources, community-led revitalization and infrastructure, building independent power, and systemic transformation. This is our mission. This is our blueprint for change.